Well, it's been a little while since we did a good old-fashioned whole house declutter. So I thought we could each work together on our homes today, but there's two things I want to visit about while we work. The first is, what if reducing the inventory in our home so that it's easier to maintain and more manageable means that we're getting rid of perfectly good things? How do we reconcile that with our brain? Because none of us want to waste money or be hasty with this stuff. The second thing is, how do we decrease the amount of stuff coming in so that we don't have to declutter so often? So we'll declutter together and visit about those two things today. Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. If we haven't met before, I'm married to Tom and we have 4 kids, ages 7 through 12, and we live here together. Our house is about 1,500 square feet, so it's not big. And so I'm very sensitive to the inventory level or how much stuff we keep in it. And anytime I notice that a space is getting kind of hard to keep tidied up or picked up, it's usually an indication to me that there's too much inventory and I need to declutter or reduce the inventory. So we're gonna go around a few key spaces in our home today to declutter, but I wanna visit about a couple of these ideas, like I said, while we declutter. So we're gonna start in the laundry room. I am actually very proud of this space because Tom and I gave it like a mini makeover last summer. I'll link to that video because I was actually very thrilled with how it turned out. And it has actually been so easy to maintain and to take care of. However, since we remodeled this bathroom, that's when a bunch of stuff ended up in there. And it is so true. Clutter attracts clutter. And as soon as there was like construction stuff piled on the floor, it was like the rest of it just got out of whack. So I'm gonna get started decluttering in here and then we'll visit. So let's talk about some of the stuff that I am decluttering from here, and then I'll give you a quick update on like the bin system and what we put in place and how I feel about it. So I have had this bag, it's returns. It was 2 t-shirts that I bought from Tom from Old Navy. In the past, I thought he liked the t-shirts there, but these ones didn't fit so great. And so it was in the back of my car to be returned, but I don't know what happened. We were going somewhere and Tom pulled everything out, and so now it's been sitting on the top of the dryer. And the problem was I bought them at an outlet, and you can't just return stuff from outlets everywhere. And so they have been sitting there, oh, it was before Christmas that I got them. But I don't ever go back to that area where that outlet was. And so it was $10. So $10 worth of shirts there. And I have to reconcile with myself now. Is it worth it to keep, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I have to return that, right? Is it worth it to continue to have that? And when would I possibly do that? Dana from A Slob Comes Clean, she'll say, okay, if you come across something that needs to be returned, fixed, you wanna sell it on Marketplace, list it right now, like here, today, or this week. Like, when would I go that direction this week? And I'm not. And so what I want to do now, well, I don't want to. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to donate those 2 shirts because to me, it's not worth it anymore. I also have this rug, and this was in front of the vanity when we had our old flooring in because it was linoleum and I didn't really like it so much. So we put a rug just to make it feel a little more current in here. But I actually hate throw rugs, scatter rugs, any kind of rugs like this, because you have to vacuum them, they get kicked around and all that. So I want to get rid of this rug as well because I don't want to put it in another spot in our house, and I'm not going to keep it for someday. There's also some random, it's a strap to something. I know we don't need it, so that's gonna go. But here we're bumping up against this idea of donating or getting rid of perfectly good things, right? Those t-shirts are perfectly good. That rug is perfectly good. And in the past, I think many of us were raised, I might be similar to you, that the way we assessed the value of something is what we paid for it. It does not matter if it's currently serving my needs, if it fit my needs in the past, like the rug, and now it's not anymore, that I have to maintain it, that I have to care for it, that I have to move it around. That doesn't matter. The only way most of us have been taught to judge value is the price tag on what we paid, not even what it's currently worth. And so this has been a huge mental shift for me to realize that there is a bigger cost than just what we paid, that there is a cost to maintaining it and moving it around and storing it and protecting it and not letting anything happen to it and remembering that we have it. That cost is significant as well. And like I said, the reason we had done such a good job of keeping this laundry room up and not being a mess. Like, it was so cool. People could come in and use this bathroom, and I'm like, I can have the door open to the laundry room because it's not trashed like it used to be in the past. Like, I've actually been very proud of myself in this simple system that we put in place. And don't get me wrong, I feel very fortunate to have a dedicated laundry room. I know many don't, and so this is a luxury even though our house is small. But I've been very proud of it because the system works well, and like normally on any other day, if you would have stopped by before we did the flooring in here, it was put together and picked up. And so what happened, like I said, Tom left stuff in there, and then the rug got kicked on the floor in there, and then this bag was on top of the dryer, and then it's like it became okay for everyone else to leave, you know, the bleach on top of the dryer and other pairs of socks and other things because there was already something else out of place there. And so that is a cost. So that bag sitting on top of the dryer has cost us in being able to keep our house tidy and peaceful and clean. And I don't know if it's the current season we're all in, but I am much more aware of the impact of my surroundings now. And we just have to keep our home picked up and tidied up in order for it not to feel like everything is chaotic and out of control around us. And so I'm so much more aware. So that's where these types of things feel even more costly, more so than ever before, having this extra inventory and stuff to keep track of. It just feels so costly right now. So like I said, I'm gonna part with this stuff. I still don't like wasting money. Please don't give me, I hate wasting money. But for my own peace of mind and for the sake of our home right now, I'm gonna let that stuff go so that it is just so much easier to keep up. All right, so we got the laundry room decluttered and pulled back together. And so now let's head over to the kids' bookshelves and school area. I wanna talk through some things, kids stuff, art projects, that kind of stuff. And we're gonna declutter together over there. I'm gonna have them help, and then we'll head into the master bedroom. We have the crew together. We are going to declutter these shelves, and we recognize because this area isn't so easy to tidy anymore that it needs some more decluttering. And so we haven't gone through a lot of these bins in quite a while, so we're gonna go through those, go through any other random stuff that's on here. We have a garbage bag. We'll bring stuff to the recycling and just kind of see what it is that we find. Are you guys ready to go? Okay, so I just kind of see my role as a guide during this process, right? There's kind of 3 different categories of stuff we're coming across. There's stuff that just needs to be rehomed. There was like some board games and a few homeschooling books that didn't belong in this area. So getting those back to where they go. There's garbage, right? There's just started art projects, papers, that kind of stuff. As we come across art projects, this is something Corbin made at Co-op. We ask, okay, is it special enough to go in your memory bin? Or not necessarily. And so he said not necessarily and put it into the garbage bag. And what's nice is as we do this more and more with our kids, then it's not a big deal anymore. And then as far as like the little treasures that they have, these bins down here are where Gage gets to keep that kind of stuff. So he can put anything in here that he wants to. It just has to fit in here. And so again, totally using the container concept, which is works really well with kids. And I know sometimes some parents will say like, my kids are super attached to stuff. And that's understandable, but again, these are skills that they're gonna take with them through the rest of their life is how I look at it. So I really want to work with them to figure out what works with them. And so for us, just having a container where they can keep their super special stuff works really well. We also have their like homeschool containers on here where their daily work goes. And the problem with any kind of container is things that will hold things, right? And so these containers get like just stuff put in, and unless we do take a few minutes every once in a while to go back through it and declutter it, then they can accumulate too much stuff, and then this whole area doesn't function well. So we made a quick pass through those bins as well, and ultimately came up with a bag of garbage, a few homeschool books to donate. Again, I'm realizing with homeschooling stuff, I know the question comes up like, how do you keep stuff like to use next year with other kids? There are only so many hours in the day, and I'm realizing that it's very easy to accumulate way more homeschooling materials than we could ever possibly use. And I know that applies to like hobby things and craft things and that kind of stuff as well. And so I only hang on to a resource. Again, I'm still fairly new at this, right? But a book or resource, those of you who collect books too, if I know for sure we are gonna use it again. Otherwise, I'd rather pass it on and let someone else make use of it and not let it rot away on our bookshelves, right? So that was only 8 minutes worth of work, but this looks better. More importantly though, it feels better. Like it feels so much better now. Just having it look nicer, more put together, and easier to keep this area tidy now that it's decluttered again and we've cleaned out the organization. So I know I joke a lot of times about like getting rid of flat surfaces, and like we don't have nightstands or anything in here, but it's so true that all of the flat surfaces in our home collect clutter. So in here, it's books, and it's not uncommon for a stack of books to pile up next to my chair. Most of the books I read are actually on my Kindle app now, but I do still, like, if it's too expensive to buy the book on the Kindle and you can get it for really cheap, like secondhand, I'll do that. I try to use the library whenever possible, but it still just happens that books are given to us or I pick them up places. So I'm gonna make a quick pass through the books that are here. And I know, like, this was like a journal that went along with the book, and I really liked the book, so I thought the journal would be good. But then I'm not using it. It's been sitting here forever, so I'm gonna donate this. I've never even written in it. So I'm gonna donate this and hope someone is very excited to get it at the thrift store. This was a book that was helpful for a season. I got a couple good ideas from it, but have you ever noticed a lot of books have like 1 or 2 really good ideas in it, and you kind of get the gist of it, and then you don't really go back and visit anymore? I don't know, maybe some people do go back and revisit the books. I don't. Like, I know that about myself. So even though I really liked the ideas in here, I don't find myself grabbing for it to revisit it. So I'm gonna let this one go as well. Same with this one, like I really liked it at the time, but I picked it up to revisit it and I'm like, meh, I like fresh stuff sometimes. So I'm gonna let that one go. This one I really like, but I don't need it down here right now, so I'm just gonna store this upstairs. This one I'm currently reading, so I'll keep that down here. I think both of these I'll just put upstairs. And so again, I don't want the inventory here to be so much that it feels stressful. Or do you notice this with like books and magazines? The FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. Like, oh, I heard that book was so good and I have to read it, or I'm not gonna get like the good ideas out of it, right? And it's like, it's actually stressful. Like, it actually feels stressful to us and we don't realize it. And like, this is our bedroom, right? This should be a peaceful and calm and relaxing place to be. And so, so I really do try to keep just the stuff that we are currently using out here, and then either donate the rest and pass it on so someone else can actually use it, or store it in a different place so it's not cluttering up our bedroom. I want to let you know, so we're not going to do like every area of our house in this video, because I've actually gone through both of the bathrooms and our extra bedroom and the kitchen recently, and so I'm going to link to those videos down below because they do a good job going in more depth with decluttering each of those spaces. So I'll link to those, but I did want to touch on real quick this idea of having less inventory coming in so that we don't have to do so much decluttering and inventory management. I've noticed for myself, like, I really have to steer clear of the dollar store. It kind of helps that they're raising the price to $1.25, so I don't feel as much impulse to buy there. But if I do have to go there, I mean, there's still a handful of things that I get there. I like have a very specific list, and I have to be very careful not to get extra stuff. Similar with thrift stores, even though I like to go there to get stuff for the kids, I steer clear of like the home decor or the adult clothing. I'm like, no, it's like I have a very clear purpose what we're coming here for, because I still love a good deal, and like I will just grab stuff because I'm like, oh, it's only $4. I'm just gonna grab it. It looks kind of cute. And so like I have to be very careful about thrift stores, the $3 spot at Target. Like I really try to like just move like beeline right past there, or just do pickup so that I'm not tempted to buy extra stuff. So I'm definitely very aware of things that are like on sale, on clearance, a really good deal, garage sales, thrift stores, because I just know how easy it is to reaccumulate this stuff that we're working so hard to declutter. But overall, like I said, I'm just so much more aware of the clutter in our house now. And what I love is that as I've decluttered, as I've been willing to part with stuff that's still worth good money, is that our house is so much more peaceful. But it's more peaceful because I don't have these things nagging at me. It's really easy to keep clean. And what I found, next week we're gonna do a spring clean with me, is that I don't mind cleaning my house as much when it's not so cluttered. Cass will talk about this from Clutterbug. She'll say, well, a lot of us think of cleaning is actually like picking up and decluttering and moving stuff around. She's like, that's not cleaning. Cleaning is like, you know, mopping the floors and doing the dishes. But because we've grouped this all together, for a lot of us, cleaning is this huge task because we have all this stuff that we're trying to manage and move around and organize and store, where once we decrease the inventory in our house, then I found that the actual cleaning itself, it's actually kind of enjoyable. And I would have never ever said that in a million years. I know there's some of you who like do enjoy cleaning, and I'm like, that's not me, right? You all are weirdos. But I'm understanding now that as we reduce the inventory and we don't have so much stuff to manage in our house, I'm like, oh, like it actually feels good to look back at a clean kitchen, or, you know, to see the progress when you're cleaning windows or mopping the floor or whatever. And so it's much more enjoyable to maintain my home now that there's not so much clutter. So it definitely goes hand in hand. And now that is part of my motivation behind decluttering and being able to make some of these tougher decisions more easily, is because just remember, it's gonna make the house easier to clean and keep up. And so that's what I'm constantly reminding myself, especially when I'm feeling guilty about the money that I wasted on this stuff, right? Like, I totally understand that. So I would love to know, how do you talk yourself through decluttering stuff that you spent money on, right? Because we have the easy stuff that's easy to declutter, and then we get into that harder stuff. And so how do you reconcile that with yourself? If you have any tips around that, if you would share it down below, it is so helpful. But otherwise, I hope you got some decluttering done today as well. I love you. I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you again soon.